When we talk about smart birds, we're usually referring to parrots that do things like sing Beyonce lyrics or curse so much at guests that they have to be removed from public display at the zoo. But there's one group of hyper-intelligent birds that are often overlooked, even though their ability to learn, communicate, and be generally crafty is right up there with monkeys. I'm talking about crows. Well, more specifically corvids, a group of birds that includes crows, ravens, rooks, jays, jackdaws, magpies, tree pies, coughs, and my personal favorite, nutcrackers. I started thinking about corvid intelligence when I read an article about how crows can not only remember faces, but hold grudges against people. So these researchers at the University of Washington put on these scary masks while they were trapping and banding about 7 crows around their campus. Months later, researchers and volunteers put on the same scary masks and walked around that area without bothering the crows at all. But the crows seemed to recognize them and started screaming at them once they showed up. And it wasn't just the initial 7 crows either. Over the next 2 years, the number of crows that were alerting and screaming at whoever was wearing the mask grew from 7 to about 53. These results were later replicated using more human-looking masks with a completely different set of crows. They also had a control set of human-looking masks that had no negative associations. And then they had volunteers put these masks on and go into the area without knowing what the association was. And sure enough, when the crows saw the mask that they had a negative association with, they lost it. This was a completely different reaction from what happened when they saw the control mask. So the crows weren't just recognizing the mask, they could tell the difference between the 2 masks. And they were like, hey, that guy right there, not that one, the other guy. That guy's a jerk. Come scream at him with me. And as amazing as that sounds, it's only scratching the surface on corvid intelligence. Corvids are actually known for problem solving by making and using tools. You've probably seen a video floating around on the internet of a crow getting water out of a bottle by dropping little pebbles in it until the water level rises high enough for it to drink. That isn't out of the ordinary for these creatures. A lot of the best examples of crows using tools come from New Caledonia crows. New Caledonia is an island in the Southwest Pacific Ocean. There are no woodpeckers on this island, so the crows have no way of getting to the food that lives in the tiny crevices in the bark or in the hollows of trees. Evidence actually suggests that the beaks of these crows evolved to make it easier for them to hold on to tools. New Caledonia crows are known for manufacturing a tool out of stepped cut pandanus leaves. Essentially, they sharpen the ends of the leaves until they're super pointy, and then they take the leaves and stick it into the holes that they find in the bark of trees and either use slow deliberate motions or rapid motions to spear their prey with the pointy end of the leaf and pull it up out of the bark of the tree and eat it. And the most adorable part of this whole thing is that they will actually carry the same tool around with them on foraging expeditions. Crows are known for breaking off twigs from bushes and then using those twigs to pry and dig out grubs and larvae and all sorts of things from the crevices in trees and on the ground. And they aren't just clumsily using these tools either. In order to dig out things like larvae, they have to use the tools in slow, deliberate movements. And they don't just make pointy sticks either. They also make hooks. In one experiment, a crow named Betty used previously trained experience making hooks to modify a metal wire to get food out of a cylinder. So essentially, researchers put this crow on the table with a wire and a cylinder that had a bucket of food all the way at the bottom. And you see the crow actually pick up the wire and attempt to get the food by poking it. Once it realizes that this isn't going to work, it bends the wire into a hook shape, lowers it into the cylinder, and then pulls the bucket out by the handle. Most toddlers, and in my opinion, most adults, probably couldn't figure that out. This crow assessed the problem, attempted to solve it by using a tool, failed, and then not only adjusted its behavior, but completely reshaped the tool. You better hope that these crows don't learn how to do anything else, because we are in big trouble. For a long time, we thought that bird brains had less processing power because they're significantly smaller. We assumed that smaller brains meant less neurons and less specialized areas for higher order thinking. But corvid behavior completely flies in the face of that assumption. See what I did there? Corvid brains have 1.5 billion neurons, which is about as many as some monkeys. In reality, some birds actually achieve primate-like levels of intelligence with brains that are a fraction of the size. A 2016 study showed that the brains of songbirds and parrots had twice as many neurons on average than primate brains that were the same mass. This indicates that bird brains have higher neuron packing density than mammalian brains. But even though corvid brains are small compared to primates, for instance, their brains are actually large in comparison to what we would predict for their body size. And they don't just have large brains for their bodies, they actually have a larger prefrontal cortex than most birds with the exception of parrots. This large prefrontal cortex could be the reason for the higher primate-like intelligence. So far we've discussed recognizing faces, holding grudges and telling other crows about it, and problem solving by manufacturing tools out of raw materials that they carry around with them. But we can't talk about corvid intelligence without discussing their understanding of space and time. Let me explain. Lots of corvids store food for future consumption. They either store large amounts of non-perishable seeds that they collect seasonally, or they store small amounts of perishable, higher quality foods that they collect hours or days later. Here's the amazing part. When jays, for instance, were allowed to store perishable and non-perishable items, they could not only remember where they stored what, but they also remembered how long they stored each thing. So when they were allowed to go back and get the food after a short amount of time, they instantly went for the perishable, high-quality items. But if too much time had passed, they didn't even bother going to the now rotten perishable items, and they instantly headed to go and collect the non-perishable items. So they knew not to even bother with some of the food because they remembered, I stored this food a long time ago and it's probably expired. Again, better than most people. The ability to act flexibly on information in this way and update working knowledge is a cornerstone of intelligence. Watching how corvids behave and solve problems indicates that they have things like insights and can use an imagination, meaning that they can see scenarios that aren't in front of them and work through them in their mind's eye. Here's the petty part. Those jays didn't just remember where they stored their own food, they observed where other birds were storing their food and pilfered it later. And then they actually used the knowledge that they gained from pilfering other birds' food supplies to more strategically hide their own food. They're basically pirates. So these birds remember faces, make tools to solve problems that they carry around with them, have amazing memories and cognitive maps and understanding of time that helps them keep track of things like the freshness of food, observe other birds so they can steal from them later, and then internalize those birds' mistakes so that they can more strategically protect their own stuff. I'm starting to think that Alfred Hitchcock was onto something. On a lighter note, corvids don't just use their amazing powers to gossip, hunt, and steal. They also help unsuspecting hedgehogs cross the road so they don't get hit by cars. Look, there's so much more to learn about corvids than I could ever fit in one video, but I'm not gonna make an entire video about corvids without letting you know that they are some of the best mimickers of sound out there. So if you've made it this far, please enjoy this compilation of my favorite talking corvid videos.
Hello, mate. What's your name?
All right, mate.
All right, mate.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
This isn't working out, Daniel. Good bird.
Are you all right?
What's the matter? What's the matter, Mum?
Treasure. Say, are you all right?
What's the matter?
To make some mischief, are you?
We're up there causing trouble.
Oh, there.
Say nevermore. Waka waka.
What's up? What's up?
Video.
Don't be right, no.
What's up?
Good boy.
What's up?
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you, buddy?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Hey, what's up? What's up with you? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, can you tell me what's up?
What's up? What's up?
Well, it's pretty cold outside, right? I know, right? It's cold out. I know. I know.
I know, right? I know.
Do you have a bad cough? Do you have a bad cough from being so cold? Oh dear, I have a cough. Do you have a cough? Do you have a bad cough? Oh, that's awful. Well, we better go then. Go rest. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.